Hello viewers, my name is Sandisiwe Ntlokwana from Ngwayibanjwa Senior Secondary School. Welcome to the ECDoE broadcast studio. Today's lesson is about the world time zones. I'll be presenting it to you for your full understanding. The topic is about calculating the standard time without DST. The first thing you need to know when calculating the standard time without DST is for you to be able to follow these steps. Step 1, you locate the place for which you already know the time and day on a time zone map. I will call this one the unknown. Step number 2, you have to locate the place for which you wish to know the time and day of the week on a time zone map. So I will refer to this one as the known. Then you have to do the third step. But before doing the third step, you need to remember the rule. Countries on the east of the 0-degree line of longitude, which is called the Greenwich Mean Time, are ahead of GMT or UTC. GMT stands for Greenwich Mean Time, and UTC stands for Universal Time Coordinate. And countries on the west of the 0-degree line of longitude, which is Greenwich Mean Time, are behind GMT or they are behind UTC. Then from there, you will have to proceed to the third step. Step number 3 says you must calculate the time difference. How do you calculate the time difference? You will remember the rule of signs. So the rule of signs is as follows. If the signs are the same, that is both a plus and a plus, or both a minus and a minus, you subtract the smaller number from the bigger number. So if signs are the same, time zones are the same, you subtract the smaller number from a bigger number. So if signs are different, one sign is a plus and the other sign is a minus, you add the time zones together and you get your time difference. Then the following step would be step number 4, whereby you'll be calculating your standard time. How do you calculate the standard time? You calculate it by either adding the time difference or subtracting the time difference from the given time, depending on the direction, whether you are moving east or you are moving west. So if you move forward to the east or to the right, from the known to the unknown, you add the time difference to the given time. If you move backward to the left or to the west, from known to unknown, you subtract the time difference from the given time. Then you will get your standard time. So remember, we will be calculating the standard time in different places. This is our map that shows that when it's 11 a.m. in Hawaii, it is 12 in the afternoon in Alaska. That is what we'll be looking at. I want us to look at this question. So the question says, if it is 20 hours in Johannesburg, South Africa, calculate the time in Brazil. If it is 20 hours in Johannesburg, South Africa, calculate the time in France. If it is 20 hours in Johannesburg, South Africa, calculate the time in Japan. We'll start with calculating the time in Brazil if it is 20 hours in South Africa. So what you need to do, we need to apply the 4 steps that I spoke about earlier on. So before you can do that, you need to be able to interact with your time zone map. The time zone map will always be given when you are writing your examination. So this is our world time zone map that will always be given when you are writing your exam. We have the 0-degree line of longitude, which is the Greenwich Mean Time. This is our 0-degree line of longitude. Then from there to the east, we have +1. Remember, each of these lines of longitude are 15 degrees each, which is equivalent to 1 hour. Then from +1, we have +2, which means now this one is 30 degrees. From +2, we have +3, which means it is 45 degrees. And then up to the 12th line of longitude, which will be your +12 there on the far eastern part of the map. Then again, from 0 degrees line of longitude, which is the Greenwich meridian, we have -1. You will remember in the beginning we said countries that are on the west from 0 degree line of longitude, which is the Greenwich Mean Time, are behind UTC or are behind GMT. And countries that are on the right or on the east of 0 degree line of longitude, which is the Greenwich Mean Time, are ahead of UTC. So from 0 degree line of longitude to the west, we have -1, which is 15 degrees again. Then we have -2. These are the time zones. So what is important is that you must be able to locate the time zone of the country. How do we do that? Let's perhaps look at the time zone for South Africa, Johannesburg. So here is South Africa, Johannesburg, and it is located on a +2 time zone, which means that South Africa is located on a 30-degree line of longitude, and its time zone is +2. Then again, if we were to look at Australia, Sydney, as we can see that Australia has got 3 capital cities. There is Sydney with a +10 time zone. There is Perth with a +8 time zone. So you remember, when you're locating your time zone for the country, you look at the closest dot of the name of the country. For example, if we were to look at Brazil, the closest dot to Brazil is -3. Here is Brazil. Let's look at Brazil's time zone. This is Brazil. Here is the dot. So the dot is close to Brazil. So which means the time zone for Brazil is -3. So if we were to look for a time zone for South Africa, let's go to South Africa. So this is South Africa. If we were to look at the time zone for South Africa, as we can see, South Africa is located on a +2 time zone, which means that South Africa is located on a 30 degrees line of longitude. Remember, we said each of these time zones or each of these lines of longitude are 15 degrees each, which is equal to 1 hour. Let's perhaps look at Australia, which has 3 cities according to our map. So if we were to look for the time zone for a city which is Perth in Australia, the time zone for Perth is +8. But if we were to look for a time zone for Sydney in Australia, the time zone is +10. So why are these countries having different time zone? These cities rather, yet they are in one country. It's because of their location on the lines of longitude, which means that Perth is located on a +8 line of longitude, yet Sydney is located on a +10 time zone or on a +10 line of longitude. That is why they are in the same country, but they are having different time zones. So you need to be as accurate as possible in terms of locating the time zone. Let's look at Riyadh, or let's look at Addis Ababa. So here is Addis Ababa in Africa. Let's look at its time zone. This is the closest dot. This is Addis Ababa. Here is the dot next to the name of the city. So this is how we locate the what? The time zones on a map. Right, let's look at this question now, and we'll apply our 4 steps when calculating the normal standard time. Now we will calculate the normal standard time of Brazil if it is 20 hours in Johannesburg. So we will apply the 4 steps, and the first step is to locate the known. We locate the known, and in this case the known is South Africa. So the known is South Africa, which means we already know the time for South Africa. We want the time for Brazil. You locate the unknown. The unknown is Brazil, which is -3. The known is SA. We know the time for SA, and the time zone for Brazil is -3. What is the third step? So the third step is to calculate the time difference. Remember, we said when calculating the time difference, that will depend on the signs. If both signs are the same, you do what? You minus the smaller sign from the smaller number from the bigger number. But if signs are not the same, it's a plus and a minus, you add the time zones together. And in this case, we have a minus and a plus. Therefore, we have to add the time zones together. And then if we add 3 and 2, it gives us what? It gives us 5 hours. Hence, we have the time difference, which is 5 hours, which means that the time difference between Brazil and South Africa is 5 hours. And we said the last step now is to calculate the what? The standard time. And the fourth step says you calculate the standard time either by doing what? By adding or subtracting the what? The time difference to the given time. So we are given 20 hours. This is the known time. And the unknown is the time for what? Is the time for Brazil. So we look at the direction now. From the known, which is South Africa, to the unknown, which is Brazil. Are we going east or are we going west? And in this case, we are going west. Hence, we did what? We subtracted the time difference. So you go east, you add. You go west, you subtract. What are you subtracting? You are subtracting the time difference from the given time. Hence, we have the answer, which is 1500, because we subtracted the 20 hours, we subtracted 5 hours from 20 hours, giving us 15 hours, which means that when it was 20 hours in South Africa, it was 15 hours where in Brazil. I want us to look at the second question, which says, if it is 20 hours in Johannesburg, South Africa, calculate the time in France. Remember, I said to you, the first step is to locate the time zones of the two countries. You locate the known, the time zone for the known, and the time zone for the unknown. In this case, the known is Johannesburg, and the unknown is France. So we already know the time zone for Johannesburg. What we need to do is to locate the time zone for France. Let's go back to our map again. So here is our map. I want us to locate France, the time zone for France. So this is France. Here is the dot. So which means that France is on a +1 time zone, which means that France is located on a 15 degrees line of longitude. So now we know the time zone for France, that it is +1. So let's go back to our question. So France is +1 and South Africa is +2. You will remember the first step is to locate the what? The known, and the second step is to locate the unknown. So in this case, France is +1 and SA is +2. This is the known, this is the unknown. So the time difference, because the signs are the same, it's a plus and a plus, the time difference, we will subtract the smaller number from the biggest number, and it will give us 1 hour. So this is the given time. Now we're moving to our third step. The given time is 20 hours in South Africa. Now we have to look at the direction. Are we going east or are we going west from South Africa to France? They are ahead of time. Both of these countries, South Africa and France, are ahead of GMT. They have plus signs. However, if we look at France, we're going to go to the map just now. If we look at France, France is behind South Africa. If you look at France on the map, it's behind South Africa. So this is France. This is France. This is South Africa. So South Africa is ahead, is on the east. Now, if you're going to France, you're going northwest. So the direction is west. Hence, we will do what? We will subtract the time difference from the what? From the calculated time, from the given time rather. So France is behind South Africa. So we subtracted the time difference from the given time. That is 20 hours minus 1 hour, giving us what? 19 hours, which therefore means that when it was 20 hours in South Africa, it was 19 hours in France. Remember, the time difference is also telling us that between these countries, there is a 1 hour time difference. I want us to go to the last question. So this last question says, if it is 20 hours in Johannesburg, South Africa, calculate the time in the following places. Japan. So we'll look at the time in Japan if it was 20 hours in South Africa. You will remember we always follow the steps, the 4 steps. So the fourth step, the 4 steps that we said we follow, you locate the known, you locate the time zones for the different places. And in this case, Japan is on a +9 time zone and South Africa is on a +2. But I want us to look on the map and check the time zone for Japan. So here is Japan. This is Japan, Tokyo. And it's located on a +9 time zone. So both countries have got plus signs, which means that we will apply the rule of signs, which is to subtract the smaller number from the biggest number. So now if we subtract 2 from 9, it will give us 7 hours time difference. So which means that there is a 7-hour time difference between Japan and South Africa, Johannesburg. So the 4th step, now that we know our time difference, is to calculate the time by either adding or subtracting the time difference from the given time. And in this case, Japan is on the far eastern part of the world and it's a +9. Therefore, it means we will do what? We will add the time zones together. So if we add, we will add the time difference to the given time rather. So we have 20 hours which we were given already. Then if we are adding 20 hours, 7 hours to 20 hours, it gives us an abnormal time, which is what? 27 hours. We know that a day is made up of 24 hours. Now, if we get anything that is more than 24 hours, that time is abnormal. What do we do in cases such as this one? So if we get an answer like this one, like 27 hours, we have to subtract 24 hours to give us the what? The normal time. So if we subtract 24 hours from 27 that we got when we're adding 20 hours plus 7 hours, it gives us now the normal time or the normal standard time, which is what? Which is 0300 in the morning. And please note that if you happen to get an answer like this, then this means the date will do what? Will change as well. If you were given the date in this case, let's say we were given maybe 20 hours in Johannesburg on the 26th of February, and we were to give the date. So the date, and we have a calculation such as this one, the date would be 27 of February, because we did receive the what, or we got the what, the answer that is abnormal in terms of time, because we don't have anything like 27 hours, because a day is made up of 24 hours. In summary, what is important is that we need to be able to follow all the what? All the rules and the what? The steps. Remember, the first step is to locate the known, the time zone for the what? For the known. The second step is you do what? You locate the time zone for the what? For the unknown. That is, you locate the time zone for the country you wish to know the day and time on a time zone map. Then the third step would be to do what? To calculate your time difference. So remember, we said you add the time zones together if signs are the same, and you subtract the smaller one from the bigger one if signs are not the same. Then the fourth step would be to do what? To add or to subtract the time difference from the given time, depending on the what? On the direction that you are moving. If you move to the east or to the right, from the known to the unknown, you add your time difference. If you move to the west, from the known to the unknown, you subtract the time difference from the given time. We have come to the end of our lesson. You can leave your questions on the comments. Don't forget to leave the name of your school so we give shout outs. Please share, recommend, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. See you on the next lesson on health and safety.